Most people come to Barcelona and head straight for Park Güell or Montjuic for the views. But what if I told you the best panoramic spot isn't even marked on most tourist maps? Bunkers del Carmel sits quietly above the city, a remnant of war turned into a peaceful lookout. Unlike the heavily photographed sites, this place remains relatively untouched. No ticket lines, no official opening hours, just open skies and silence. Originally built as an anti-aircraft battery during the Spanish Civil War, these bunkers have transformed into one of the city's most cherished local secrets. From the top, you get a full 360-degree view. The spires of the Sagrada, the winding streets of the Gothic Quarter, and even the blue outline of the Mediterranean in the distance. It's a view that humbles you, showing just how vast and alive the city really is. It's a place where locals gather with takeaway snacks, guitars, and bottles of cava, watching the skyline stretch from the sea to the mountains. There's no entry fee, no fences, no commercial, just raw, unfiltered beauty. You'll hear the wind before you hear any traffic, and for a moment, it feels like the city belongs only to you. To get there, it's a short hike up narrow streets and steep steps, but the reward is unbeatable. If you want to see Barcelona the way the locals do, away from the crowds and camera flashes, this is the place. Stay for golden hour, and you'll understand why this forgotten military outpost is one of the city's most priceless views. In the heart of Barcelona, where the Gothic architecture and bustling boulevards steal the spotlight, there's a hidden layer most tourists never see. The underground culture that gives this city its edge. While the big museums and galleries draw crowds, the real creative pulse beats quietly beneath the surface. Tucked between residential buildings in the El Raval district is a place called Miscellanea. Part art gallery, part bar, part performance space. It's where unknown artists display powerful work, where spoken word nights echo off graffiti-tagged walls, and where you might stumble into a DJ set without even knowing it was happening. No flashy signs, no tourist queues, just raw, unfiltered creativity. This isn't the polished, postcard version of Barcelona. It's something far more personal. You'll find murals that change weekly, that double as exhibition spaces, and backroom film screenings that feel like secret gatherings. These aren't venues that chase attention. They're the kind that build community. To really know a city, you have to feel its heartbeat. And that heartbeat lives in these offbeat, unpolished, deeply human spaces. Skip the guidebook. Follow the sound of distant music, the scent of paint, and the low hum of conversation behind unmarked doors. That's where the soul of Barcelona hides. Everyone talks about tapas in Barcelona. They flock to the same recommended restaurants, order the same 5 dishes, and leave thinking they've tasted the city's food scene. But real local flavor lives in the places no one's posting about. The kitchens without Instagram accounts, the menus without English, the spots where generations of locals have eaten without fanfare. Tucked in a quiet corner of the Sant Antoni neighborhood is a no-name bar with fluorescent lighting and paper menus. Here, you'll find bocadillos stuffed with steaming bowls of lentils with chorizo, and the kind of tortilla that melts when you cut into it. The prices are low, the portions are generous, and the food is honest. This isn't curated for tourists. It's cooked for people who grew up here. Just around the corner, there's a tiny bakery that opens at 6 a.m., where you can watch the owner pull trays of ensamadas out of the oven. She's been doing it for over 40 years, and if you show up early enough, she insists you eat one fresh while it's still warm. Barcelona's food culture isn't just about what's on the plate. It's about who made it, where you eat it, and the stories that live in every bite. Step away from the high-rated restaurants and into the places where you can smell the history, feel the pride, and taste something that isn't trying to impress anyone. That's where the magic is. In a city known for its architecture and nightlife, it's easy to overlook the pockets of nature that quietly breathe life into the edges of Barcelona. But tucked between neighborhoods and tucked behind unassuming entrances are green spaces that locals treat like well-kept secrets, perfect for a quiet escape from the buzz. Just north of the city center lies Parc del Laberint d'Horta, a historic garden that feels like something from a fairy tale. It's Barcelona's oldest park, yet rarely crowded. Winding cypress hedges form an elegant maze at the center, while moss-covered statues and romantic archways hide in the shadows. You can wander through the pathways for hours without hearing a car. Only birdsong and the occasional crunch of gravel underfoot. Then there's the Jardins de Costa i Llobera, perched on the Montjuic hillside, a cactus garden with sweeping sea views. It's almost surreal. Desert plants towering above the Mediterranean. It's the kind of place where time slows down and the hum of the city feels a world away. These places aren't promoted, and they're not made for crowds. But for those willing to look beyond the main attractions, they offer something just as valuable. A peaceful pause, a breath of fresh air, and a reminder that nature always finds a place to thrive, even in the heart of a city. Most people think they've seen Barcelona once they've visited La Rambla, taken a photo at Sagrada, and wandered the winding alleys of the Gothic Quarter. But the true spirit of this city isn't just in its landmarks. It's in the streets that don't make the postcards, in the forgotten corners where time feels like it stood still. This final chapter is about the places that whisper history, where every crack in the pavement tells a story, and every shadowed alley hides a piece of the past. There's a quiet street tucked behind the busy Ciutadella Park, where old stone walls rise higher than the houses around them. Blink and you'll miss it, but follow the faint echo of footsteps, and you'll find yourself on Carrer dels Abastecedors, a narrow stretch that hasn't changed much in centuries. The buildings lean inwards, as if holding a conversation, their balconies bursting with flowers, drying laundry, and the occasional Catalan flag swaying in the breeze. The air here feels different, denser, quieter, almost reverent. At the end of this street, there's an archway leading into Plaça de Sant Pere, a small square dominated by a church that predates most of modern Barcelona. It's not grand or flashy. The stones are weathered and stained, the bell tower chipped with age, but it has presence. You might find a man playing a cello in the corner, or children kicking a football across the tiles. It's alive in a way that tourist-heavy spots aren't. It breathes. And then there's El Call, the old Jewish quarter, a tangle of medieval lanes, where the sunlight barely touches the ground. This was once a thriving cultural hub, centuries ago, until history took its toll. Today, few signs remain, but if you walk slowly and pay attention, the past starts to rise up around you. There's a small plaque on one of the walls, marking the ancient synagogue. Nearby, stone steps worn smooth by generations. Here, the ghosts don't haunt, they whisper. Even outside the city center, you'll find streets like Cara Den in El Raval, or Cara de Patrizal in the Gothic Quarter. Barely wide enough for two people to pass, but rich with layers of life. Art Deco doorways, iron street lamps, faded tile work, and time-worn shop fronts. They're not curated for tourists, and that's exactly what makes them special. These aren't places that scream for attention. They don't need hashtags or drone shots to be worthy. They're the veins of the city, quietly pulsing just beneath the surface, where locals live, where stories were made and never written down, where Barcelona continues to evolve without ever forgetting where it came from. So, if you really want to feel the city, not just see it, Take a step off the main road. Wander, get lost. Let your curiosity guide you through streets that seem too quiet to be important. Because in those hidden corners, in the forgotten alleys and time-worn stone, you'll find the heart of Barcelona, still beating just for those willing to find it.